Hi, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Anita. Today, we're going to be talking about how fear keeps you stuck. 2025 for me is the year of change. That's the word that I chose for this new year. Why? Because sometimes we fear that change, we fear the unknown. All of that together, we're going to face it head on. Let me tell you, 2025 is the year of change. I know it's not easy. Change is not easy, but we need it in order to grow. And if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Face fear head on. I'm going to be touching upon three different ways that you can face your fears. The first fear that everyone has is change. And that's why I made it my word for 2025. Change comes in so many different ways. You'll be surprised at some of the signs that you will get that the divine sends to you. Change is uncomfortable for most people, especially children who have autism. And I know firsthand, it pushes you out of the familiar, what you're used to. So, for an example, if you're used to driving down the same way that you go every day to work, well, you know what happens? One day you have a block. You can't go down that road anymore. You have to now make an alternative route. In this alternative route, now you've been switched. That's the sign that you need. That when you go further, you might find that store that you've never had discovered, or you might find that place that triggers an inspiration or a creativity in you. It's that goal, that change that's happening in your life. That if you hadn't been altered or detoured towards that new path, you will never have discovered it. I'm going to share something that I've probably shared in another podcast. I know firsthand how change can be very triggering for some. I'm a survivor of AC from my dad and my mom. And throughout that path, when I grew up, I was afraid of getting with a person, with a guy. It was very intimidating for me. I had no clue. No one really sat me down and told me this is okay, this is not okay. I didn't know. I had to learn that on all on my own. But I also had to change. Why? I was closing myself off to the rest of the world. And through that change, I realized if I ever wanted to get married, if I ever wanted to have children, I needed to change. And that was what triggered me to change it for myself mentally, physically, everything. I went to therapy. I finally had the change that I needed, and I was able to get married. I was able to have two beautiful children, all because I took it upon myself to change. And you can too. The second fear that we have is the fear of judgment, being judged. What if I do this? Oh my God, what are they gonna say? Stop it. Stop it. You know why? Everybody's always gonna judge you. You have to have that in your mind. But how you progress towards that and ignore the namesayers, the people who say that you can't do something is keep quiet. Do your things on your own. Don't let anyone know. Fly like a butterfly and bloom once you have that change that you've been wanting. That judgment will go away. People will see you in a different light. Yes, people are always gonna have something to say about you because that's just how life is. But you have to face it. You have to let people who judge you just fall over your shoulders, ignore it. Just like how people are celebrities and they get all of these comments for people. You know what? It's easy to write something because you're behind a screen. But you know what? When you have to say that to someone's face, yeah, they're going to be quiet. They're not going to say anything. When I wrote my first book, I kept quiet. I didn't want to tell anyone because I didn't want their doubt to cloud me, to make me believe that I can't do it or have something negative to say, because people tend to do that. And I was like, no, I'm not going to tell anyone. I just started doing my own little thing. And once I had it edited, once I had my cover, once I did the things that I needed to do for this, that's when I announced it to the world because not everyone needs to know what you're doing. You don't need to be posting your life on social media. No one cares. People are going to be envious if you're with someone. People are going to be envious because you have that job or you won that award. But you know what? They weren't in that position to begin with. So I don't know why they're envying you. They just envy what they can't have. And once you learn how to look and see, Their judgment is not going to bother you anymore. I want you to take like what a bully says. You see how that what they keep saying and they keep repeating, you start believing it in your head. So that's when you have to stop and stomp out that judgment. Stop it. Don't tell anyone what you're doing because they don't need to know. Look at Stephen King. His wife saw this manuscript that he had made and he chucked it because he didn't believe in himself. But it was her persistency of telling him to keep writing. He shopped it around and no one wanted it. Imagine if he had stopped what he was doing, or that his wife never pushed him to do that. Where would we be now? We wouldn't have all these wonderful books that he's written. Or what about Walt Disney? He had this idea. And yeah, some people were like, no, I don't want to put money towards that. No. But you know what? Persistency. People are going to judge you, but you have to be more persistent and persevere and push forward to that goal that you want. You can't let people to stop you. You have to stop fearing what people are going to think about you. Stop waiting for that approval. This is your dream. Go with it. Fight for it. People are going to say whatever they want, but remember, you have the power. They don't pay your bills. That's the thing about it. So the first fear is change. The second fear is judgment. And now we're going to jump onto the third fear, which is the fear of saying no. For a long time, I struggled with saying no. I thought that, if I didn't give in, if I wasn't going to be part of the popular people, I had to say yes. But you know what? No. No is a very powerful word that you can use. It tells people, no, I'm not into that. No, I don't want to do that. And no has a lot of power. I grew up in a household where my dad was the kind of like the alpha male and my mom was the subordinate of him. And I could see that. I could see that relationship. And I knew that that's not what I wanted. But within my family, you could not tell my dad no. And as I said, I was a survivor of SA. I learned how to be silent. I learned not to rattle the household. I didn't know what would happen if I said no to him. I was just afraid. I was afraid. I remember a memory that I had when I was a kid. My dad looked different than other people. The way he styled his hair, the way he just was, that's the kind of person that people would make fun of. And I was embarrassed. I'm gonna admit it. I was embarrassed. He had a very long beard. The beard came all the way up to his chest. Like people would say like if he turned it white, he would have looked like Santa Claus. On top of that, I remember one day I was being bullied in the bus. People were making fun of me. People were making fun of him. And he told me to go take the money to pay the bus driver, and I told him no. Oh my God. That was the first time that I had said no because I just didn't want to go back to that. But now try to explain that to a person who comes from another country. He didn't get it. No one understood what was going on, and I was punished for that. He beat me like where my mouth was swollen, and I learned to stay silent after that. I learned not to say anything. I didn't want to ruffle the feathers. I didn't want to get punished. It took me a long time to heal because I couldn't even talk. I think that happened during the summer because if it would have happened during the school year, he would have been found out because my whole mouth was so swollen that I couldn't eat. I couldn't talk. I couldn't say anything because I said no. So that fear of saying no, I've learned to embrace it. I've learned to empower myself with it. You know why? If I'm in a situation or my kid is in a situation where I just feel kind of funny, do you think I'm just gonna let my child stay in that? No, no. That's when your intuition kicks in as a mom and just even as a person, as a human being, you know that it means no. Take that child out of that area. Take that child out of that situation. When you are a people pleaser, you just have to do it. You can't go against the norm. But you know what happens? You start putting your own needs before everyone else's. So you have to say no. You let your needs go to the wayside and everyone else goes before you. But you know what? Saying yes doesn't serve you. It just makes you resentful. It makes you sad. It makes you depressed. Once you start shifting that, once you start coming out of your shell, like I said, the word for 2025 is change. You become a new person. You become what you want to be. You don't have to worry about what anyone else says because you have the power within you to say no. No, I don't want to take that job. That job, to researching it after seeing it, no, it wasn't for me. No, I'm not going to let that person take my child and spend the night over. No, I'm not doing it. When we are children, we're taught to say no, but we're taught to say no in different ways. Now with that force that you need to, society starts to chip in on you as you grow up. Once you start letting that chip inside of you chip away at you, you become something else that you don't want to be, and you have to take that power back. I'm going to tell you this: it's not rude to say no. It's necessary. If something doesn't feel right, you know what? Say something. Take that opportunity to voice your dislike for it. No, I'm not doing that. No. Because you know what the saying goes, when you see something, say something. Yeah, say no. I want you to stand your ground because you have the power within you. You have that light inside of you for that change to happen, for the fear to go away. My mother-in-law is always telling me, que me ruede, which means to roll over. So there are many ways that you see this fear that you have to face. Yes, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot within you to face that fear. But if you don't face the fear, you're going to remain in that stagnant area, in that stagnant life that you don't want. You're afraid to pursue that dream that you have. You're afraid to maybe even get married because you don't think that that's the person. You know what? There's a lot of signs that the divine gives, that God gives to you. You have to open your eyes and see those signs. Face those fears. If not, they're going to hold you in and they're not going to let you out. Once you break that fear mongering, you're going to be a new person. You're going to feel better. And I'm telling you, because it happened to me. Within the last 2 or 3 years, I decided that no, I'm not going to do that. No, you know what? Opinion. I voiced my no. And now it's like my standard. No, if something doesn't feel good, don't accept it. Don't give into it. No, I don't want to do that. That's not something I want to do. No, you're not going to change my mind. That's not going to happen. Fear will always be there, but it doesn't have to control you. It doesn't define you because this is your time. This is your year for change. Break free from the fear factor. Break free from all of it. The only one that's standing in your way is you. If this video has resonated with you, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, Anita Inspires, and follow me on social media under Anita Inspires. And follow and like this podcast on all streaming services. Thank you so much.